Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Yes, styling and profiling here on a Sunday night, and just enjoyed, as many of you probably have, if you're taking the time to watch this video, Ric Flair's last match. Struggling a little bit with this tripod situation, so please bear with me, or tiger or lion with me if you were. God in heaven. Just trying to do things properly and anyway, but so we had a nice show here, folks. CONRAD THOMPSON, Brian James, apparently the Road Dogg was a producer on this thing. Doug Dillinger was there. I was kind of hoping at the end, I guess spoilers if you haven't seen the fucking thing, I was hoping that Tommy Young would come in as the last referee for the night. That did not happen. It was some other guy. I don't know if that's a piece of my anatomy or a piece of my pizza on my face, for Christ's sakes. So in any event, God damn it. I thought it was a good show. I was kind of expecting a title change. They had a couple of maybe 2 or 3 titles matches on the line. I thought the Deonna Purrazzo female might win that Impact Women's title. She did not. Overall, probably the only thing wrong with this show was that the live audience was kind of dead. The people that I watched this wonderful show with, we were all kind of disappointed in the live crowd there in Nashville. They were not very responsive. They were not very enthusiastic towards anything. My feeling is that perhaps the live crowd was kind of dead. If many of them had been at StarCast throughout the weekend, the wrestling convention, and had sat through all those Q&As and Bret Hart seminars and so forth, perhaps the crowd was just burned out. That's my theory. I could be wrong. Maybe some of the crowd had gone to some of the other wrestling shows, the GCW. But there's some really good wrestling in that ring. And it's possible they just did not microphone the audience very well. But they just really did not seem to be a crowd that was going to respond to anything until the Ric Flair match. I apologize. I got so much. The setup here is a little bit off tonight, so you might be upset about it. Let's see what else happened on the card. Brian Pillman and Brock Anderson defeated a variation of the Rock and Roll Express, I guess you could say, Ricky Morton. They said that Kerry Morton was his son. To me, I wondered if it was actually his grandson, but I guess it's his son. The kid did not look too good. The Kerry Morton looked really non-wrestler-esque, really outclassed. This Pillman and Brock Anderson thing kind of growing on me. I don't see AEW doing a lot with these. God, fuck. I'm just getting attacked here by plastic spoons of all things. I have this series of plastic spoons, and they're just making a lot of noise. And this light, I'm going to turn the light off. It's bothering me. Now I can't see anything, but I just felt like that light was overwhelming. What else about this fucking show? The Jacob Fatu was a big, nice surprise for the people watching, and along with myself. We were all very impressed with Jacob Fatu. He had a very good showing against the All-American type. It kind of felt like a baby Kurt Angle versus a baby Yokozuna, but that's some doing. I'm trying to thank you. That match was pretty good, and then they had the outside interference from Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, I believe. Kind of a disappointing end to a good match. What else? The Rey Fenix winning the 4-man match. The 4-man luchador match was very fun. God, what are you doing? Stop. Jesus, fuck. I'm just getting interference here on my phone. What other matches? Rey Fenix, very good high flying. I didn't think it would be worth it, Mikey. Well, AJ, what do you think now? I mean, give me the follow-up to that. Apparently you watched it. You had your doubts, but coming out of it, do you feel good? Do you feel like you saw a good show? Was this show more pleasing to you than SummerSlam? That's a good question. I'm sure a lot of pundits will be asking. My buddy Carl's checking in from Chi-Town, Chicago, which is where Ricky Steamboat beat Ric Flair way back when in February of 1989. And of course, in Nashville is when Flair got his title back, or where Flair got his title back, going back to 89. I did like the commentary in that. Some other things that were wrong about this show. And Michael, AJ, I want you to continue your thought. Did you like the show overall? Flair wasn't my fave. I was Hogan fan more. Fair enough, buddy. But what did you think of this show is what I'm getting at. It's getting hot in Chicago, Chi-Town heat, buddy. What else can I say? God. Yeah. I mean, did you think this was a better show than SummerSlam? Was it equal? I think it was just different, to be honest with you. I think the WWE is such a controlled show, and the production values and all that are great. I prefer my wrestling to be a little nitty grittier. I do have to say, though, that I think this crowd tonight in Nashville could have been a little more enthusiastic. I mean, there was a lot of wrestlers there, to be honest with you, that I've heard of, but I haven't seen wrestle. I don't think I've seen an entire match of Ross and Marshall Von Erich, but they were good. Mikey, why are concert tickets going up like Adele and Bruce Springsteen? Good question, buddy. Well, it's kind of like if you go into a Five Guys hamburger place now, you're paying like $12 for a simple hamburger. So post-COVID, in this post-COVID era, a lot of things have just skyrocketed in price. From what I understand, airline tickets are very high. I was having a conversation today with a friend of mine. You know, where I'm at currently, you drive down the street, there's someone on the corner with a sign saying homeless, need money. But then everywhere you go, places need employees. I mean, the coffee house here used to be open till 10 o'clock. They're closing at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it says because they're understaffed. So what can I tell you, buddy? I mean, these people that want to, beg for your money, apparently they're too good to work at the coffee house. Good. I'm glad to see you've been watching AEW, Carl. AJ, I still haven't gotten your take on the show, if you liked it or not. Now, as far as the actual Flair match, well, let's get to Jordynne Grace retaining her title. It did seem like a legitimate ankle injury to Rachel Ellering. I think she played through the pain. It looked like she had twisted her ankle earlier in the match. Poor Shakira, 8 years in prison for tax fraud in Spain. Do I think it happened? Facebook can be wrong. I did see that story there, AJ. I did click on it. You sent me the link. I appreciate that. As far as I know, she hasn't been found guilty yet, but we'll see. I mean, she'll be shaking her hips in prison. What a fall from grace if she went from the Super Bowl halftime show in January of 2020 or February of 2020 with Jennifer Lopez, and now she's in prison. What a fall from grace if she goes. But I have nothing against Shakira. And 8 years in prison for tax fraud seems a bit excessive, but who am I to judge? The Deonna Purrazzo thing, I thought she was going to win the title. Our buddy Laza's checking in. Good day, all the way greetings from Brisbane, Australia, mate. I don't know. Did you watch the show, Laza? It must be like 3 a.m. over there. Did you watch this show? Did you have any feelings about it? I watched it. I enjoyed it. A different feel. Oh, here's what I didn't like. I mistracked myself. The camera angle on Tony Schiavone was very unappealing. They had a camera angle on Tony's body that was very unflattering to Tony. We kind of saw like the lower part of his into the fat on his crotch, through his pants, and just almost his groin area was kind of featured in the shot, and it just didn't need to be that way. All they had to do was crop the camera angle. It's 12:15 here in Brisbane, and would that be on Sunday or Monday? What day are you on, Laza? I'm curious. Are you on Sunday or Monday? We're on basically whatever the fuck we're on. We're on, I think it's past midnight Monday morning, or maybe it's 11:30. I can't do everything. I can't tell the time and do my podcast here, or broadcast, whatever the fuck it is. But in any event, the main event, Ric Flair Andre did his part. Wow, so you're a half a day ahead of us, buddy. It's 12:15 Monday in Australia. Well, timey kangaroo down indeed. So what did I think? Ric Flair comes out, doesn't look too great, wearing a t-shirt on top of a robe, and just it wasn't too appealing. But then we have to remember he's literally got a pacemaker in his chest. So I'm guessing that he has some type of scars, perhaps, and he didn't want to show us that. Mikey, I think WWE fans hate Corbin, not scripted. That's why his hate Conrad, not scripted. That's why his booking has been loose every match in his career. Last win was Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. That was it. So you're talking about Corbin, Baron Corbin. You're saying you think the fans hate Baron Corbin, legitimately hate him. That's why his booking has been to lose every single match since his last big win was at Kurt Angle a couple of years ago. You might be right, buddy. I mean, it seems like a couple of years ago we were hearing how Corbin was like Vince McMahon's favorite, and now I guess Theory is Vince McMahon's favorite, and maybe it doesn't matter now anyway because Vince is no longer calling the shots in Theory. Now that's why we saw this Bailey thing. Bailey's new little trio there last night debuted. I forgot to mention that in my SummerSlam review. I did think that was one of the stronger parts of the show, and it did have a Triple H written all over it. Bailey's new faction with Shirai and Dakota Kai. I guess they all rhyme their names. Let's see. Living in Australia, I celebrate my birthday June 12th twice in Australian time and American. It's great. That's a good move, man. I like that. Maybe I'll start celebrating my birthday for all the different time zones in the world and expecting more gifts from everyone. So December 5th, remember that. Also, Mandela passed away. Nelson Mandela passed away on December 5th. In some people's timelines, if you're a hashtag Mandela Effector, you can watch my playlist on the Mandela Effect. Also, Walt Disney was born on December 5th. If you want to see a whole December 5th video, I have one here on the channel. What other matches happened on this thing? God, there was a lot. There was 9 matches. The Bunkhouse Battle Royal, a little bit more fun than I thought it would be. I thought it was pretty good. I thought that I was hoping that Bubba Ray Dudley or Bubba Ray, whatever, would win the thing. He did not. The Vance Archer character did. But Mikey, Liv Morgan versus Ronda, did you see anything wrong with the match? Well, good question, buddy. Liv, look, here's the deal. Liv is very well liked. She's very attractive, let's be honest. She's a very pretty woman. She's very popular with both males and females. She's very adorable and lovable. Is she the best worker on the roster? Obviously not. But I did kind of like the finish, to be honest with you. I thought for a gimmicky finish, where Ronda Rousey looks strong in defeat because Ronda Rousey gets the tap out, but the referee doesn't see it, and he counts Ronda's shoulders to the mat. I thought it was a great way to get out of this thing. You know, basically, if Ronda's going to take time off to rear her children or whatever she's going to do, or just get refreshed, or maybe she just has one of those part-time contracts. But I thought it was a good way to keep the belt on Liv and to not make Ronda look bad. So I thought it was pretty good, to be honest with you. Laza says he needs to catch up on the show tonight. Did catch halfway through the main event. Love Ric Flair's heart tonight and the blood he gave. That's right. You're right, Laza. He did give his heart and soul and blood and sweat, and he paid the price for wrestling tonight, which I thought was great. I thought it was good. I mean, I think the best thing you'd say, look, nobody, as far as we know, got really hurt. I did see that, like, I think Andre did like a reverse Frankensteiner to Jay Lethal at one point. But I guess he's okay. Was there any other injuries? Like I said, the Rachel Ellering ankle twist looked a little rough. Was there any other spots where you thought someone might have gotten hurt for real? Brock Lesnar was amazing. Hope not his last match. Enjoying this run better than the heel one. Excuse me. I do agree. I thought Brock was pretty good last night, or very good. A lot of suplexes. He's playing the babyface thing well. Brock is doing surprisingly well without a mouthpiece. I mean, that's what we've been hearing for 10 years is, oh, Lesnar needs Heyman. Heyman needs Lesnar. Well, apparently Lesnar's doing okay now. We're basically going on a year. I mean, if you remembered it, it was 11 months ago when Lesnar came back at SummerSlam 2021 at the end of the Roman Reigns Cena match. And Lesnar and Reigns has pretty much been the story of the day ever since, really. But I thought it was a good match. I thought that the whole truck thing and the plow and the ring was very unique. Like I said in my SummerSlam review, I'm not going to shit on it. I thought it was a great weekend for wrestling. Look, last night was definitely a WWE show, and this was definitely an independent show. I mean, they can call it Jim Crockett Promotions, which they did. And I guess the interview area was kind of like Jim Crockett Promotions. But the reality was you're not going to recreate something from a long time ago the same way that it was. Adam's going to comment. I'm going to get to that. I did feel like, where is Sting and Ricky Steamboat? Why are they not in the ring with Flair and Arn? Apparently, Steamboat was offered the match against Ric Flair, and Steamboat passed on it. And not only that, he went crying to the reporters and kind of insulted the whole thing. And that's Steamboat. So I think that might have burned his invite. I'm sure that if he wanted to come, they would have gotten him a ticket, but maybe not the front row. That was a cringe last match. Unpleasant to see. Okay, Adam, I'm offering you the microphone here. You can definitely add more to that opinion. See, I don't know, because what else do you want? I mean, he got sympathy because he bled. He didn't get hurt. I mean, there was rumors that Flair was going to jump off the top rope into the crowd or into the opponents, which he never did. I think, from my memory, I'm getting the low battery thing here, gentlemen. From my memory, Flair took one legitimate back bump, which was a suplex, I believe, from Jay Lethal about 2/3 of the way through the match. I'm trying to think of any other traditional back bumps that Rick took. He did not do his over-the-top rope thing, his old Ray Stevens thing. He's saying unpleasant to see. Well, what do you mean by that? I mean, what was unpleasant? It's a wrestling match. There was a lot of stalling in the beginning. Is that what you mean? Larry Zbyszko style crowd work? But I mean, you have to give me more details, buddy. Please do, Adam. AJ Norris responds, Mikey went back in time, WrestleMania 1. T versus Bam Bam, that was still a horrible match. LT versus Bam Bam, WrestleMania 11 from Connecticut, from Hartford, Connecticut Civic Center, I believe. WrestleMania 11 was LT versus Bam Bam. Yeah, that was I mean, it's horrible if you're saying LT and Bam Bam for a guy having his first ever match, LT, in front of 15 or 20,000 people in a worldwide pay-per-view, and totally got winded halfway through the thing. LT, I'm talking about. I don't think it was horrible. I mean, it was what it was. We might be getting spoiled by these Logan Pauls and the Pat McAfees and all these guys. The way that these new celebrities are wrestling, what's his face, Big Bunny, Bad Bunny. Interesting regarding Steamboat. At least Flair still gave Steamboat a nod of respect. At the end, he did the promo. Regardless, on the promo, on the end of the show, as both Flair and Steamboat in the ring was stuff of legend and great legacy in wrestling. Well put. And I'm happy to tell you, gentlemen, that I did attend a Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat match. In fact, it's somewhat regarded as Dave Meltzer's first 6-star match, which was at the Capitol Center. You can find this thing somewhere on YouTube. Capitol Center, Flair Steamboat, April of 89 or March of 89. Look into that. It was after their second and before their third of the trilogy on TV, but their house show, Luke, was also very good at that time. What else, buddy? I'm still waiting for Adam's details here, his critique. I don't really share those critiques or criticisms. Look, was it a great fucking 5-star match? Obviously not. But for a fucking 73-year-old man to bleed and to take a suplex and to do the crowd work and have a pacemaker in his chest, what else do you want? Here we go. So here we go, buddy. I thought from the training footage that it was going to be more of a match. But this just had a few chest slaps, and then Flair basically passing out and couldn't figure out how to put brass knuckles on. Then could barely put the figure 4 on. What was the ending? The ending was that he hit Jarrett with the brass knuckles and put the figure 4 on him, but Jarrett was already knocked silly from the brass knucks, so he was just privy to getting pinned. So that way Jarrett didn't have to submit. He takes the pin, but he doesn't have to submit. And also Jarrett's protected because Flair hit him with brass knucks. And I believe CONRAD THOMPSON is they said that CONRAD tossed the brass knucks up to Andrade, which the camera did not catch, but Shivani covered it. So that just kind of feuds the CONRAD Jarrett thing. Could they make a CONRAD versus Jarrett match for pay-per-view? Or if CONRAD decides to do another show, which I'm kind of thinking he will if he made money off of this one, they could have Jarrett versus somebody with CONRAD in the corner of the somebody. That could be Andrade. It could be somebody else. I think that was really the question for me, Adam, is are they going to do another show? That's kind of my question. Look, if you didn't like this Ric Flair thing, you'll never have to see it again, because if he keeps his word, and I hope he does, there will not be another Ric Flair match. I agree with that. Flair did look like Terry Funk tonight, LOL. Yeah, I mean, he's an older guy, man, middle-aged and crazy. You know what I mean? So I see you're agreeing with Laza. With Ric Flair tonight, reminded me of Terry Funk. He did bleed well. I mean, if you look at the Terry Funk versus Raven stuff from ECW, Barely Legal 97, I think they said Funk was 49 years old with that match. But I don't know. I mean, to me, as long as you can get it done, you can get it done. Give it up to Double J, Jeff Jarrett, 55 years old. Looked pretty good tonight, I thought. Look, man, I think it's, what can you say? It was what it was. I mean, Rick, he wanted to do this, whether it was for the money, for the fame, for the goodbye. Flair did say a funny comment at the end. He said, to be able to do this twice, which, I think was a tip of the hat to the Shawn Michaels match. But it was kind of like, yeah, didn't you retire 18 years ago? But that was the WWE retirement, not the Ric Flair retirement. I wonder what Undertaker said in Ric Flair's ear tonight. Probably something to the effect of, I love you, man. You're always the champion. You're some crap like that. All these old timers blow each other up all the time. Brett. And it was nice to see like kind of an interesting trio at ringside. Brett, Foley, Undertaker, some of their wives and children. I believe MICHAEL McGLONE, Undertaker's wife. Jeff Jarrett looked like $1 million. Agreed. He looked great. It was a feel-good thing, man. It was a feel-good thing. I wish they could have at least got an NWA ring. Wow, you had a lot of critiques here, buddy. I don't know. I mean, they called it a Jim Crockett Promotions show. Was there NWA representation on this show? That's a good question. As far as the Billy Corgan NWA, I mean, Nick Aldis did provide a promo, but was there any actual NWA matches? I guess not. I mean, Tim Storm was not there. Murdoch was not there. Trevor Murdoch. Was there any NWA matches that I'm forgetting? If they were, I'm forgetting them. The fist bump between Bret and Flair was cool. Yep. A lot of history there, folks. Bret Hart defeating Ric Flair in 1992 in Saskatchewan for Bret Hart's first World Championship run, WWF World Title. Undertaker and Ric Flair, of course, WrestleMania 18. Mick Foley and Ric Flair trading a lot of vicious commentaries towards each other in their respective autobiographies, and then playing off of that for a feud, I think, first in TNA and later in WWE, unless I have that reversed. They had Melina involved in that feud, and I think they had like an I Quit match and a 2 out of 3 falls match and all types of crazy shit for Flair and Foley when they were both past 40. So a lot of history with all those guys. Trying to think what else. What other things did we see tonight? And here we go. Jordynne Grace looked pretty good. Jordynne Grace, who's very controversial on Twitter. She's kind of a Twitter troll with wrestling, but she looked really fantastic. Last time I saw her was several years ago, I think, for the first all in show, not all out, but all in. And it looked like Jordan Grace has lost some body fat since then. Looked really good. Was great seeing Foley tonight. Look forward to seeing him live and meeting him August 12th when he comes to Brisbane. Very good. And you'll have a good time, I'm sure. I have seen Foley do stand-up comedy and do a spoken word event. I've seen him twice do stuff like that. He's very good. It was an AEW show. Ooh, Adam with a hot take. It was an AEW show. Shivani said so on his Patreon. Shivani was told to do the commentary by Tony Khan. Shivani didn't want to be there, but was ordered by Tony Khan. LOL. Well, I don't know how much of that is a shoot on your part there, Adam DeMoy, or how much that's you're working me a little bit. I mean, what do you mean he didn't want to be there? If he was getting paid and getting away from Lois, then he probably wanted to be there, right? I mean, some of these guys just do whatever they can to get away from their wives. Let's be honest. I'm trying to get to the next comment. I think my phone is dying. Here we go. Laza says, I did enjoy the match between Flair and Foley on TNA Impact. Yeah, some underrated stuff. Oh, nice to see Juan here. Haven't seen Juan in a while. No Page or Mercedes to AEW after all. Man without a proven transcendent woman, that AEW women's division will keep relying on just Britt and Jade. Well, I mean, they did get Thunder Rosa from the NWA, which has been going on for a while, and they got Tony Storm from WWE. And, what else you want to do? I mean, I think Jade is over, whether we want to admit it or not. She's a rookie. She's green, or she's kind of a sophomore now, but she's kind of over, and Britt's definitely over. And then, I mean, I think you got like Ruby Soho, you got Tony Storm. I mean, I don't know, what else do you want? I mean, I think there's a great women's wrestler out there that would be an excellent match for Jade Cargill. But right now, she is wrestling for the National Wrestling Alliance, and her name is Camille. I think a Camille Jade Cargill match has got money written all over it, but it's got to be done the right way. It can't just be a Dynamite or a Rampage main event. It's got to be promoted. Camille versus Jade Cargill, I think, would be fantastic. Did you hear the gossip that Tony Khan is going to become AEW champion? I did not hear that. I'm assuming you're ribbing me, brother. But I'm thinking, no, I don't think that would be very good. So what else, gentlemen? Keep the comments coming. I think this show, if you were to rate this show out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it 4. I'd probably demote half a star because of the dead crowd. And I'd probably demote half a star because of the horrible camera angle on Tony Schiavone's crotch. And part of that half a star demotion would also be the fact that there was no title changes. I thought, maybe this Impact group or somebody could have offered up a title change for us. And I'm thinking, did I miss a Japanese 6-man tag? Was there supposed to be some type of Japanese 6-man tag tonight? Did that happen on the pre-show? If so, I missed it because I was watching RIC Flair versus Terry Funk, Great American Bash 89. Mike, could you see them doing another last match for another wrestler next year? Thanks. Yeah, I could see that doing for Jeff Jarrett, although Jeff might have more than a year left in him, right? But I could see them doing that for Jeff Jarrett. If Foley wanted to get in shape and he needed the money, they could probably do it for Foley. But, I mean, Foley looked pretty bulky tonight. Arn has that bad hand. He's not going to do it. Tully Blanchard, I mean, we could kind of push the point. I don't think you'd have a huge box office buy-in for a Tully Blanchard last match. But, I mean, who else could we do there? I mean, Dustin Rhodes, perhaps, but would Dustin Rhodes really get that type of attention? I think they could definitely do another thing where there's an older guy featured, a Dustin Rhodes or a Jeff Jarrett, but you would probably need a stronger undercard. Thanks, Andrew. Good question, though, because I was thinking about that. Yes, Laza was just ribbing me, brother, ribbing me in the ribs. I do like your question, though. I'm kind of wondering if this Jim Crockett promotion / Conrad Thompson promotion will continue with more shows. Early in the show, they shot to a promotion for the Impact thing. Do you see anybody leaving with Triple H in charge? Possibly Kevin Dunn. And I don't think that needs to be as controversial or heated as you might think. I just think he could just take this opportunity to retire and take a severance package, meaning Kevin Dunn. And maybe he doesn't want to be around. How can I speak for Kevin Dunn? I'm not him, but maybe it's just time for him to retire and enjoy his life. I've actually met Kevin Dunn in my life. He's okay. He was okay to me, at least for 5 minutes. But I don't know. I could see Tony Khan. I'm not sorry, not Tony Khan. Kevin Dunn retiring just because it might be the time. That's all. Leave while you can, or whatever the fuck. So I think maybe there's a transitional period, but I see maybe he gets out. Tony Khan is reminding me. I wish Michael Cole would get out, to be honest with you. Tony Khan is reminding me of Vince McMahon as the evil boss in the Attitude Era at the moment. So if he does put the belt on himself, wouldn't be shocked. You're really kind of harping on this quite a bit tonight, buddy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I haven't heard these rumors. I think you're worrying about something you don't have to worry about. I mean, right now you've got Moxley. John Moxley is the interim AEW champion. You've got the match with CM Punk. Apparently, from what I read, CM Punk's foot is coming along quite well, and might even be as early as the next pay-per-view. They have that unification match between Moxley, assumingly it's still him, and Punk for the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I do have some issues, though, with this All-Atlantic title. I mean, if Pac is out there defending that All-Atlantic title throughout the world, why isn't he just the world champion? I mean, it makes very little sense to me that what should be thought of, in my opinion, as the third tier singles title for men, the AEW All-Atlantic Championship, after the world title and after the TNT title, why is that title being defended throughout the world? You don't see the AEW World Championship being defended on other shows. So you know what I mean? If you're going to call your number one title the world title, that just means your company championship. But this new title is somehow defended on other promotions. They don't always do things that make sense. I guess they're going to do this trios thing, very pretentious. I call it a 6-man fucking title, not a trios title. So I just think it's a little bit odd. Okay. Gentlemen, if you have any more comments, get them in quick. Our battery here, or my battery here, is dying. I wanted to hop on this thing. My computer is in my car. I could not go get it in time. I want to get on this thing quickly. Mox vs. Punk, excited for it. Yeah. I think the question, buddy, would be who goes heel in that. I would probably assume Punk would become the heel. But how do you pull that off? What else can I say? I did see a couple of movies recently, Nope and Vengeance, with BJ, what's his dick, from The Office, BJ Novak. Ashton Kutcher is in that movie. Both movies beyond that, but both Nope and Vengeance are worth seeing. Good movies. I'll probably do a makeup video for those reviews. My books. Everyone's excited about my books. I sold an in-person book today. My friend Kenny purchased my filmmaking book, which I appreciate. He did get some very Dusty Rhodes booking in AEW, so it can be great, or what the fuck? You mean like the Dusty finish? I'm trying to think of what you're talking about. I mean, the Chris Jericho Cody thing with the stipulation, if I don't win the title in this, was that like a Dusty thing? Have they done any Midnight Rider type shit? I mean, they did have the 5, what was it, the 5 pillars of Jericho, or the 5 quests of Jericho, when he had to beat 5 random guys to face MJF. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I think I was there in person for 2 or 3 of those matches at Daly's place. Yeah, I mean, look, AEW is very influenced by WCW. Because you, at the beginning at least, you had Cody Rhodes there and Dustin Rhodes, obviously the sons of Dusty. You had Keith Mitchell producer from the old WCW, was a big part of AEW until he retired. I actually have his retirement party here on my YouTube channel. Okay. So a lot of things are influences, and just the look. I mean, if you look at AEW, it does feel like you're watching Nitro from back in the day, from 97, 98, 99. 10% battery, folks. A lot of AEW booking reminds me of Dusty's Finish style booking and Dusty, etc. Okay, and it's a fair enough statement, buddy. Fair enough statement. Okay, folks, so I'm going to give you 60 seconds for any final comments, not because I want to cut this short, just because the battery's dying. Of course, my goddamn plug is in my car. My computer's in my car. You can't have it all, folks. I mean, I wanted to come here and do these to get my statements known. I'm giving this show 4 out of 5 stars. Slam for what it was, 4.5 out of 5, to be honest. I mean, very rarely do you find me saying that I prefer the WWE thing over the independent thing. But I think as far as I think both shows were really good, to be honest with you. Back to back, good shows, 2 different promotions. I think as far as what was expected from WWE, they overperformed. The Bianca Becky on the outside, if you watch my SummerSlam review, I do give that show high marks. I do give this show tonight high marks. Just 2 different animals in the same zoo of professional wrestling, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you dare call it sports entertainment, please don't do so while I'm listening, because I call it professional fucking wrestling, not sports entertainment, okay? The Von Erichs and the Briscoes, I forgot about that match. Good to see the Briscoes win. You know, the Von Erichs were impressive to it. Like the Von Erichs looked like the smoking guns from Wish a bit. I liked the RIC show. All the major U.S. companies were represented. It was a unique show. Perfect way of saying it, buddy. If you go back in your wrestling archives to Super Clash 3, December 13th, 1988, from the UIC Pavilion, I believe, my buddy Carl's hometown, you can see that the Guerreros were on this thing. Mondo Hector and Chavo Guerrero, the original Chavo, the RPMs, Kerry Von Erich, Eric Embry, Jeff Jarrett, believe it or not. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was on Super Clash 3, 1989 and 1988. December 13th, 1988, Jeff Jarrett was on Super Clash 3. And here we are, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, into 2022. So that's 22 plus, that's 34 years later, Jeff Jarrett is wrestling on a pay-per-view with a Forbidden Door type of feel, like a mini promotional show type of feel. So give it up to Jeff Jarrett. I mean, he kind of was the unsung hero. Karen Jarrett, looking all the way live, as they say. Conrad's wife, Morgan, a friend of mine, thought that was Charlotte Flair at ringside in the white pants. It was actually Morgan, the other daughter, the non-wrestling daughter. Laza gives us a nice big toast. So, gentlemen, I want to thank everybody. Laza, Andrew, I'm not sure comment before, Andrew, but I appreciate you being here. Disregard the Vampire Mike Messier documentary. For all the wrestling fans, you might want to check out Raven. Yes, that Raven in ECW legend in Chris and the Coffee Girl, the Philadelphia Experiment. So look for that, okay? 4-part series. It'll have you laughing. Start with part 1, but it actually picks up in part 3. But yeah, it's good. Did you hear so Laza, Juan, has been a while since Juan's chimed in. Glad he's back. Adam, kind of critical to. Okay, buddy. I know that you and Tony Schiavone have a thing going. A little bit of heat. AJ, of course. Very nice to see you. And for those, we'll do a video soon. I just have some family business to take care of here in New England. That's why I'm here on the road. My buddy Tommy was able to host me tonight. We'll be doing the film broadcast, the in action broadcast on Tommy DeNucci YouTube channel. I believe next Tuesday. I think we have 14 episodes for your enjoyment. I should have a playlist on my channel and action, but also on Tommy's YouTube channel as well. you can give him a subscribe if you like to hear about independent filmmaking or filmmaking. And very exciting, folks. So that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. I say it was a good show. Mike Mooneyham of the Post and Courier from South Carolina quoted me in his wonderful article. If you're a Facebook buddy of mine, you can go to my Facebook page or several of the wrestling groups. I shared that article by Mike Mooneyham, and I had a nice quote in there. So I think everyone had a good time, and thank you for watching. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel and buy my books. Thank you, Rick. #